So then what do I want to be the star? I want this to be the under. This, very cool, garland. I'm going to actually lay this in before I add in any more berries. And this is very flowy. And there's some silver eucalyptus that's a little more like a pick, but I liked how this was more like a garland, so I could weave it through. I might regret this later, but I'm actually going to use it kind of like ribbon. You know, it's got like long pieces like this. I'm going to grab it, anchor it down. So I have some silver running through the base of this before I add those red berries over the top. Then it'll have a lot of play to it too, because these are so free-flowing. It's a good word. And this is 1 pack, so they come 3 in a pack. This would just be lovely, just shoved in a tree. Just hanging down a tree. So I'm just going to put 1 more of these in here. Down toward the spine. This is a really lush 24-inch wreath, so it's got a lot of areas to add, you know, glued ornaments in. Ooh, come to the garland session. Yes, we do that quite a bit. If we have just I've taken absolutely super inexpensive 9-inch wispy stuff and just layer in other things. And we're going to do that in garlands, because garlands are a great way to do that. Just add in more beefy. When we're doing corporate installs, we often do that. We'll start with a very basic garland, and then we'll add in those top dressed elements that are a little more expensive. Ooh, you know what? Ooh, I'm going to leave a tail. I like it. Okay, so I'm going to add in some more berries, and then we're just going to glue in a bunch of balls. Okay, so we'll cut off my berries, and I think maybe just 3 more. And then we're going to glue in a bunch. This will be a pretty basic wreath, but it'll be pretty full too. And if you can't necessarily bend back a stem of berries, just put it in the opposite direction. And that's going to give you that randomness, a little more organic, natural feel. I'm just using those little fronds again, twisting it in, and then we'll glue over the top of this. I'll decide if I want to leave that tail. Nah, we'll just tuck it in. Tuck it in. So you see the creative process as I'm going through here? Like, yeah, I like that. No, I don't like that. But I have to know why I don't like it. You know, like when you got to the end of that wreath and I looked through what I had in the box that I did not use. And then I realized, oh, that's why I had it in there. That's what I was going to do with it. So everybody ready for Christmas? How many of you have a retail location? Yeah? And do you have a Christmas tree up yet? Nice. So everything is staged, ready to go. So you have your looks. So what do you think is going to be your favorite look when you go to create it? The whimsical one, because it's the most colorful? It has gnomes. Cute. Very cute. So when I haven't heard, we kind of, what we'll do, and maybe this is what you do too, you'll look at what you have from the end of the season, and then you reinvent and look at trends and say, okay, with the upcoming trends that we see, you know, maybe it's a metallic trend or a more natural, earthy, or a boho trend. What do we have right now that would play into that trend, and then what we need to add to it to bring that out? Okay. Just kind of nice silver, lots of berries. I used, yeah, one pack, which has the 3, and I used all 3. And then you'll see some that are just like the picks themselves and not that flowy garland. But I like the flowy garland. Okay. And now I have silver and black and gray. And I have to have a way to tie all this together. So this ribbon has kind of a gray center, black polka dots and stripes, which is why I pulled it. So I'm going to have to use it. And we'll do that same technique, just finding some fronds, looping it in. I don't always use ribbon. No, absolutely not. Do not. But sometimes the ribbon is that tie it all together missing factor. Sometimes it's better to not use ribbon. Depends on what you're doing. If this is a piece that's going to be outdoors, definitely better to not use ribbon. Unless you have a ribbon that you know is going to stand up. And this is that back and forth, where I'm going just back and forth. Okay. And in this case, I might go all the way through, because it's going to be random enough, and by the time I get all the balls glued in it. There's another ribbon I have too, which I don't necessarily have to use. It's just a contrasting. It's just a black and white stripe ribbon. What do you think of the black tree? That black tree is stunning. Just the tree itself, it's kind of a nice matte flocked tree. And really with that black tree, I mean, you could do a black and white tree and start with a white tree. You could do a black and white tree and start with a green tree. But having those things just pop off, you'll see there's some black glass ornaments on that tree. And it's subtle, but you see them because the contrast between the shiny glass and the matte tree. So I love that matte tree. It's almost like a flocked tree, but it doesn't really behave like a flocked tree. Okay, so this is going to be a little, more traditional with the exception of the black. Okay, just loops, random loop through there. Now we're just going to start popping in ornaments. Maybe won't need 6. No. So the reason I said no to that is if I don't include this other thing, which pulls out the blue in that gray, and I'll just show you. So this has a blue and this has a blue. And the leaf, that would be the repetition of that, but if I'm not using this, there's no point in using this. So we're just going to add. Because sometimes just having a bunch of millimeter balls is very cool. So I'm going to start and just glue these. Again, I'm going to make sure I go around to the edges, not just right through the center. I want to create a sort of 360. When I first started designing at the shop, Bill, he was then our general manager. He's 85 now. He still comes in every day. But he would get on me because my funeral arrangements, he said that you need to make them look pregnant, Loann. So when you would look at them sideways, they'd be flat. And he wanted me to make pregnant funeral arrangements. But I knew what he was saying. Really, what he was saying is you need more depth in your design. So if I were to just take these ornaments and add them through the center, only and not bring them out to the side, it would look very bare from the sides. Where else? Where else? Glitter. Okay, so I've got my red in. I would hold this up. I'll hold it up a little. No, I'm not going to hold it up. But I want to repeat the silver. I've got kind of a matte silver and now a shiny silver with this shiny silver ornament. And I got to figure out what's glued in and what's not. See, again, sticking it, holding it, dipping it, sticking it, holding it, dipping it. So you can design pretty quick. The dip and stick method of floral design. Okay, all I have left is the black. And then also don't be afraid of different kinds of red. If I did the whole thing in a rich red and I only had an orangey red added in one thing, yeah, you would definitely see it. Okay, now I want you to look at this. And then I'm just going to add in 4, because that's what I have, black ornaments. I have to be very strategic if I only have 4 of where I put them. So these might be more central. If I had more, I could dot them around.
So you don't work with uneven numbers?
Oh yeah, I have 4. Yeah. I do work with uneven numbers, but they have 4 in a pack. And so those are always going to be even numbers. You can definitely work with even numbers. You don't have to always work with odd numbers. It's kind of a myth. By putting 2 things together, you create one area. So those 2 things then become 1. Does that make sense? So you don't have to be afraid of working in even numbers. Okay? Like in this one. Okay? Now this wreath, the other things that I could add in if I had the stripes going on, have those really cool black-white striped ornaments, but I kind of like just the balls. We're going to leave this one. I'm not going to add anything. Don't worry. Okay? Cool.